On the surface, AI assisted coding looks like pure efficiency, faster prototypes, instant feedback, fewer repetitive tasks. But the hidden truth is that vibe coding often creates more chaos than clarity. It's what happens when your AI starts coding from vibes instead of logic, when you describe what feels right, not what must be true. At first, the results look impressive. The AI writes elegant looking functions, classes, and APIs until you test them. That's when you realize the logic is inconsistent, dependencies are fragile, and the code doesn't scale beyond the demo. Vibe coding feels creative, but underneath it's technical debt in disguise. Enter MCP, Modular Cognitive Programming. MCP gives structure to your AI's thought process. It separates what to think from how to build, giving you traceable reasoning, reproducible outputs, and fewer silent failures. It's not about controlling the AI, it's about giving it the mental architecture it lacks. So why should you care? Because every time you fix a mysterious bug that shouldn't exist, you're cleaning up after vibe coding. MCP prevents that by forcing alignment between your logic and the AI's logic, turning collaboration into actual co-engineering, not guesswork. Have you ever thought, I can just tell an AI what I want and it'll build an app for me in no time? Sounds amazing, right? That's the whole idea behind vibe coding. It promises instant creation, no coding skills required, and a fast path from idea to working project. But here's the catch. What looks like productivity is often a mirage, and the very thing that seems to make your life easier can actually create more problems than it solves. At first, vibe coding feels simple. You generate a small app or a simple feature, it works, and suddenly you feel like a coding genius. That's the psychological trap. Early wins create confidence, and confidence makes you overlook the bigger picture. You start thinking, I don't need to learn programming, AI can do it all for me. The danger is that these small successes hide the long term complexity. What works in a tiny project rarely scales, and the bigger your system grows, the more chaos you'll encounter. Speaking of chaos, let's talk about hidden costs and risks. That cloud service you're using, one wrong configuration, and your small free project can start racking up huge bills. Security is another silent danger. AI generated apps might expose your users' data, get hacked, or accidentally enable something you didn't intend. And the more you rely on AI without understanding the system, the less control you have when things go wrong. Suddenly, your productive day becomes hours of fixing problems you didn't even create consciously. Another problem is iteration. AI doesn't build step by step like a human developer. Instead, it often rewrites entire programs with each change. Imagine shooting arrows at a target. A few hit close to the bullseye, but most fly off in random directions. That's what happens when you try to grow your project using AI alone. Incremental improvement, which is the backbone of sustainable software development, becomes almost impossible. Every update can undo previous fixes, introduce new errors, or create confusing, unmaintainable code. This is where the Sorcerer's Apprentice effect comes in. Remember the story where the apprentice enchants the brooms and they spin out of control, flooding the whole place? That's vibe coding in action. As complexity increases, the AI keeps generating more code, and you can lose control fast. Do you think you're progressing, but in reality, the system is running you, not the other way around. And that's the danger. The AI gives a false sense of mastery, tricking non programmers into feeling accomplished while hiding the real problems beneath the surface. Here's the bottom line: expertise still matters. Real productivity isn't about how fast you can generate output. It's about creating something that's valuable, maintainable, and secure. Vibe coding might give the illusion of doing more in less time, but without understanding, those results often backfire. True skill comes from learning the fundamentals, planning carefully, and guiding the tools you use, not letting them guide you blindly. That said, AI isn't useless. It can be extremely helpful if used wisely. Think of it as an assistant, not a replacement. Constraining AI iterations, managing context, and using structured workflows can reduce chaos and improve outcomes. Systems like the Model Context Protocol, MCP, offer ways to control AI, maintain consistency, and avoid constant full rewrites. When AI is guided intelligently, it amplifies your skill instead of hiding gaps in your understanding. Philosophically, this is also a lesson in productivity. Productivity isn't about speed or flashy output, it's about creating real value. Chasing the illusion of fast progress with AI may feel exciting, but it rarely results in something that lasts. Long term growth comes from understanding your tools, knowing what you're building, and applying judgment to every step. The hype of vibe coding can blind you to these truths, but recognizing the illusion is the first step toward real mastery. In the end, vibe coding is tempting, addictive even, but it can create more problems than it solves if approached without care. The key is balance. Experiment, explore, and use AI creatively, but anchor your work in knowledge, careful planning, and structured workflows. Guide the AI instead of letting it guide you. Focus on understanding over output, and you'll turn the promise of productivity into real, lasting results. Remember, the tools themselves don't make you productive. Your skill, judgment, and thoughtful use of those tools do.